Every day at Sierra, you'll find top brand apparel, footwear, and gear for 20 to 60% less than department and specialty store prices. And during clearance time at Sierra, those incredible prices are 40 divided by 2.5, carry the 1, even lower. And when you shop clearance at Sierra, you can save a whole lot more on everything you need to get active and outside. That's a lot of saving. Epic brands, vast selection, teeny tiny prices. That's Sierra. Visit your local Sierra store today or shop online at sierra.com.
For those who know that questioning everything includes questioning this show's existence. The Last Show with David Cooper.
As the planet warms, there are a lot of negative downstream consequences. See what I did there, stream? Because streams of water flowing off the glaciers. But nobody ever thinks about the penguins, the poor penguins. And the good news is the penguins might be adapting to warm weather. We're here with Jesse Rogerson. We're covering science news. Jesse is a professor at York University, an astrophysicist. I said that right. Jesse, welcome to the program.
Nailed it. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So the penguins, I worry about them. When I think of the ice caps melting, I think, what will the penguins do? I don't care about us. I don't care about the rest of the planet. I care about the penguins. But things might actually not be so bad for them.
Well, it depends on the species. So one thing to keep in mind here is that all climate change happens everywhere and it affects the entire Earth, but it is accentuated, the effects of it, in different ecosystems. And one of those is at the poles, both north and south. And in the Antarctic, the warming that's happening across the planet is about 4 times faster than the warming elsewhere on the planet, on average. So it's accelerating.
Worrisome, yeah.
Yeah, so that's a problem. And so what these scientists, they're worried about the penguins too. So they went down, they set up a whole bunch, they had these all like 70 time-lapse cameras. So they were like set up all these cameras near the breeding grounds of these various species of penguins, specifically the Adelie, the chinstrap, and the Gentoo. And they were just monitoring. They started monitoring in 2012, and they were looking at where they set up their breeding grounds, when they do it, how long it lasts, the number of chicks, all that stuff, right? All the stuff that goes with breeding. And they, over this like 10-year time span of tracking it, what they noticed is that as things got warmer, all 3 of the species they were tracking started doing their nesting and their breeding earlier and earlier and earlier. So much so that some of them were as much as 24 days earlier than normal in the spring.
Is that a bad thing?
Well, it depends on your species. So there's, for example, the Gentoos are actually kind of flourishing here. So the Gentoo penguins, they're more able to set up breeding grounds in a variety of spaces. So they're less worried about like having ice or having open rock or whatever. They could do it anywhere, and they also eat a larger variety of food. So when they shift earlier in the year, they can just adapt to what food is available. They can adapt to what nesting grounds are available, and they actually are flourishing. But they're doing that at the expense of a couple of the other species that require the specific type of like the ice. They do their nesting on the ice. They eat a specific kind of fish that is only available. And with the Gentoos sort of invading that niche, that ecological niche, it's now pushing out other penguin species. So the short answer is that some are doing good, some are doing bad, and the ones that are doing bad are the ones that have specific needs.
Interesting. So mostly just disruption and potential the biodiversity could decrease, because if these one species thrive from climate change and push out the other ones, those ones will go extinct or have severe population depletion.
Exactly. This isn't like, the biggest problem with climate change in general is disruption, and we don't know the effects. Like, you've heard of like the food web. Like nature is so interconnected. And it's such a delicate balance, and there's gives and takes all over the place, and nature's able to correct. But when we enforce an outside variable of massive change of climate on a short time scale, that has effects that we cannot model. We just can't. Not to that detail. So we're stuck with following what's happening, seeing what's happening to these species, and the fallout from it could be a variety of things. We just don't know. Let's hope that as we do more of these studies, humans take more steps to reduce climate change. But I don't know. I don't see any of that happening on like a political side.
No, I don't either. And the next time you're in your private jet or driving your Hummer that didn't pass an emissions test, you can't say, hey, I'm helping the penguins. You might be helping one penguin, but you're hurting the rest of them.
Yeah, that one penguin's doing great. Yes.
When I once saw a documentary about a vet who went around the world helping animals. It's a friend of mine, this guy named Dr. Cliff. And at the end, there was a Q&A, and this Romanian guy who was running the film panel started asking the vet questions about penguins repeatedly. Even though there were no penguins in the documentary. And so someone would ask a thoughtful question about veterinarian science, and then the next question, this Romanian guy would go, but what about the penguins? And it's just, whenever I hear people say, what about the penguins, I'm reminded of this moment. And it had to be their story, so I'm sort of regretting telling it to you on the radio. Let's move on.
I wish I was.
Let's go to monkeys, our distant cousins, and how smart they are, how well they work together, how they use knowledge, because they kind of got brains that aren't so different than ours.
I love studying intelligence in animals. I mean, I don't study it. I love reading about intelligence in animals because I think that humans tend to think that we're the only smart thing on the planet, and we're such geniuses. We have this hubris. We're such geniuses that we've been able to uncover the rules of nature and been able to uncover how the sun moves in the sky. When really, it's just because we're an animal. We're a species that's been living in this environment for hundreds of thousands of years, and knowledge gets built into the biology. Knowledge gets built into the patterns, into the social structures. And this is a great example of it. It's a group of spider monkeys that were being followed by a group of scientists, and they were interested in how knowledge transfers from one to the other. So they did this from 2012 to 2017. They literally went into the forests and followed these spider monkeys. They're known for forming little groups and then breaking off into smaller groups and then coming back to their bigger groups again. So they have these social structures that are kind of like friend groups that cycle, break off into smaller ones, and then come back together. And they were interested how the breaking apart and reforming of the social group affects the knowledge transfer. So they followed them around, and they noticed that the spider monkeys were going out and investigating portions of the forest, of the trees, of the canopy, and recognizing where good food sources are. And then they would come back, share the knowledge with the group somehow communicate it with them, and then the entire group would know where the good food was and where it wasn't, even if not all members of the group had visited those places in the forest. And that's just a really cool demonstration of group intelligence at work.
Which is not unlike what we show. Well, it's actually, I would say we show group lack of intelligence as a species, but it's intelligence nonetheless. I think that one of the greatest arguments for why we haven't found intelligent life out in the cosmos is I'm not sure we found it here on Earth. But side note, do they know how the monkeys are communicating? There must be some language that we're not getting there.
That's a good question. I don't have a great answer for that. I mean, monkeys are able to, species are able to communicate with each other through a variety of ways, sounds and motions and leading and chain and showing. So I'm sure that they're getting their message across, but I don't have the exact answer.
We are here. It's Science News. Jesse Rogerson is here. He's a professor at York University. Check out his book, Daydreaming in the Solar System, available wherever books are sold. I recently bought it. It's got a great cover. That's all I know about it. But I will read it. I will read it, Jesse. Welcome to the program. You'd like to think that the scary ability to create deep fake images and AI videos and even writing and fake social media accounts, you'd like to think that if it were just labeled, hey, this is made by AI, that we would kind of ignore it. We'd not be influenced by it. We wouldn't have any impression of it. We wouldn't change our opinions based on it. A new research paper says, maybe you would. Maybe you do. Do you want to walk me through it?
Yeah, this scares the crap out of me. And it's not just about deep fakes and influence. It's just the general ability for people to have the cognitive sense to work through what they're seeing and make sense of it in their eyes. From my students, I talk about the use of ChatGPT all the time and how it leads them astray. It really does lead them astray very frequently. Anyway, what the researchers were interested here is, I think we all had this worry that deception is the problem. You see an AI video or you see a video on your socials and it's doing something and you're like, oh, that's really scary. And someone would invoke this video to help influence the way you feel about a policy. Maybe it's about guns, or maybe it's about vaccines, or maybe it's about a million other things that we all yell at each other about, right?
Oh, great. And I don't like where this is going, but please keep
Yeah.
going.
So you worry about deception as the biggest problem. So then the answer to deception is education, right? You show people like that video that you're looking at is a fake video. So would that change your perception? So the way they did this is they ran a series of online studies. They had they did 3 of them. They had a range of participants in the hundreds. And what they did is they would show them videos. Some would be real and some would be deep faked, made specifically for the study. And the videos would be an interview with a person who is admitting to doing a crime or admitting to do a transgression against a friend or something like that. And for some of them, they were given the warning, hey, this video is a fake video. And for some of them, they weren't. For others, they were given a warning that was more generic, a warning along the lines of like, fake videos exist in the world. You should be aware of this, right? And then they watched the videos, and after this, they asked them a series of questions. And basically, it was like asking them to judge the person. You know, was the person guilty? Was the person not guilty? Should they have done this? Should they not have done this? It was about the various social situations they were in. And even if, this is the crazy thing, is that even if they were told it was a fake video, those people still judged that person in a negative way, indicating that even though it wasn't real, they were still influenced by the way the video presented the information.
It's so weird, like the psychological, like subliminal things going on. You see a video, you're even told it's fake, but just the very act of seeing it and hearing it can influence you. We got to be careful with these fake political videos that go around. Like, there's been a lot of, I don't know if anyone's turned on the news in the last 30 seconds, maybe not this show because we try to keep it mostly science news, but like turn on the news and then go on Facebook and you see fake videos that are obviously trying to influence you politically in a polarized way. And you don't know if, and then you don't know if the real stuff is real, but that's a different conversation.
Yeah. So this worries me for 2 reasons.
Just seeing it can influence you. This means,
and so there's the 2 problems where it's like you don't know if it's real or not. But I think the very act of being shown something is going to change your perception about something. This almost reminds me of the Heisenberg uncertainty principle in physics, which is a whole other thing. But seeing something. This is also what I think politicians do very often is they'll float ideas. They'll say an idea and they'll sort of test the waters if that idea is good or not, and then they'll backtrack or they'll move forward depending. And I feel like that's what these AI videos do is they sort of push you around and like, what are you willing to stand? What are you not willing to stand? And if you aren't prepared for it, I think we need education in literacy, but we also need to understand our own psychological responses. And the scientists in this study said specifically they don't know what the psychological mechanism is that allows you to still be influenced even if you know it's not real. And they're interested in digging deeper into that.
So what you're saying is that weird conspiracy theory prone, like far gone uncle sharing things on social media, even though it's probably fake or not quite the whole truth. You're best served just not looking at it at all, rather than that, it's a train wreck. I want to see what he's saying because he's so out there and it's entertaining. It's better to just like not turn on news sources that obviously have fake stuff, I guess.
Yeah, but then you ask the question, I guess this is all about trust. It's all about confirming your own ideas and being open to other ideas.
Yes.
These are massive, massive character flaws that humanity has, right? And we need to work on it.
Yes, it is about trust. It is about, where you should get your ideas. I agree, but this is just like a tool that anyone can use in their pocket. Show you something fake, even if you know it's fake, even if you guess it's fake, it can still subtly influence you.
And
that's scary.
My big advice for all of this, whenever I talk to my friends about, or anybody, my students as well, is that you shouldn't, if you're labeling yourself as part of a team, like I'm part of this group and I'm part of that group, and you only believe what they say, then you're already like up against it, right? We're not part of teams. We're all part of the group. We're all working together.
We're part of the human team.
Human team.
All right. This last science story is so cool, and it's in your wheelhouse. You are an astrophysicist. An old map of the sky that we thought was like completely lost to time, like this old parchment paper kind of thing. It was discovered, and it tells us what the sky looked like a long time ago, which is kind of cool because the sky shifts a bit. Like, our I don't know, stars change their position and stuff. Am I understanding this right?
Yeah, so this was I teach a course called History of Astronomy, and we do the entire history of astronomy. It's mostly from a European perspective, unfortunately, but it does a decent job of covering the story from early humans 10,000 years ago or so up until today. And one of the big parts we focus on is ancient Greek astronomy in like 600 BCE to about 200 CE or so, that ancient Greek into ancient Rome. And one of the most notable people during that time was this guy named Hipparchus. Hipparchus was apparently one of the best observers on the planet. He would go out, he would observe the sky, and he made very meticulously drawn maps according to lore. Now, his original maps of the sky have been lost, but they were copied and changed and added to by other philosophers of the time, Ptolemy and Al-Sufi, to name a couple. But the original maps of Hipparchus have apparently not been seen. So enter this group. What they did is what people used to do is they used to reuse parchment paper. Parchment, if nobody's been using it for a while, they would like use some chemicals, they would wash off all the ink, and then they would write over top of it. And so this group has been looking at all these old ancient parchments and finding and seeing that you can see it with your eyes that there's stuff smudged on there from like the last time it was used. But how do you like get the information out? And they use a technique called X-ray fluorescence. And the different inks light up in different ways depending on the light that you hit on it. And if you do it in the correct way, you can see like layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, layer 4, all the way down.
We just have about a minute. What did they discover in these old parchments or whatever?
My favorite result so far is that they found Hipparchus's catalog. They found that it was as precise as someone would have said from hundreds of years ago. So the lore lived up. But what I really love about this story is you have Hipparchus's maps, and then you can compare them to Ptolemy's maps and see what was taken and what was changed and what was added. You can see the growth of the knowledge from one generation to the next. And that is an important step that we were missing, is how was science evolving of the sky over hundreds of years? And now we have a big piece of the puzzle, Hipparchus's map.
Cool. The science of the history of science. We're discussing here with Jesse Rogerson, who's a professor at York University. Jesse, thanks for bringing these stories to the show, giving us some updates on what's going on in the science world. I appreciate you coming on.
No worries. Always happy to be here.
The world is changing. From the misuse of AI and the rise of deepfakes to the dangerous spread of misinformation, it's getting harder for Canadians to separate fact from fiction. That's why having a trustworthy news source is vital. At Global News, we're committed to objective journalism that cuts through the noise. Stick to the facts. Global News, Canada's trusted news.